Hi everyone, it's Beth from the Wilton Test Kitchen, and I'm back with another frequently asked question. We actually get this question in all kinds of forms a lot. People have a hard time working with roll-out cookie dough, so I want to talk about roll-out cookie dough today and give you some tips and tricks on how to be successful with that. The recipe I'm going to show you today is awesome because it doesn't require any chilling before you can roll it out to cut out your cookies. Super huge time saver when you don't have to chill the dough down before cutting it. So this is the Wilton no chill roll-out cookie dough. I'm going to show you how to make it right now. So I have all of my ingredients laid out, and into my bowl of my mixer I'm going to pour my granulated sugar with 2 sticks of butter. And it's softened so that it's at room temperature so that it can combine with my sugar really nice and easily. Use a paddle attachment and just mix it on low speed. And what you're looking for here is for the butter and the sugar to be nice and creamed together. So they will be light in color and very fluffy, just like this. That's exactly what you need for these cookies. Now to my butter and sugar mixture, I'm going to add 1 egg and 2 different extracts. If I didn't mention it before, these cookies are delicious. So not only are they simple to make and roll out, but they're also super yummy. To get that flavor, I'm going to add vanilla extract and also almond extract. So it's gonna have a dual flavor. It's really awesome. One of my very favorite cookie recipes. So once these are nice and combined, we're gonna go ahead and combine our dry ingredients. I have 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, and to that I am going to add 1 teaspoon of salt, which is also going to add a lot of awesome flavor to my cookie, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Just want to give these a quick mix together to get the baking powder and the salt combined into the flour before we add this to our butter mixture. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add this to my mixer about 1 cup at a time, nice and slow. Make sure you stop your mixer, scrape it down every once in a while so that everything gets nice and combined. So you'll see it starts to get really thick like cookie dough, and you're going to again want to scrape the bottom and the sides to make sure that there's nothing sticking, no flour sticking to the sides or especially to the bottom of the bowl. It can collect there. So give it a nice good scrape to get all those dry bits up and into the stickier dough. And give it a few more turns around the bowl until it becomes a nice ball. That's when your cookie dough is ready. And there you go, this is what it looks like. See, it's really clumped together. You don't want to over mix the dough, so as soon as it starts to clump together like that, that's when you want to stop, because the more you mix the dough, the tougher your cookies will get, because you'll start to develop, the gluten in the flour, and that's what makes cookies hard and tough. So don't over mix. When it starts to ball up like this, you're perfectly ready to go. Now we're ready to roll it out. So I'm lightly dusting my surface with flour so that my dough doesn't stick once I put it out. And we're gonna work with half of our dough at a time. So just eyeball in your bowl about what half is, scrape it out, and kind of squish it together. We wanna form a disc. And then flatten it down, just like that, like into a disc. Make sure you always have a lot of flour underneath you so that this dough doesn't stick. But as you can see, I didn't chill my dough at all, and it's very nice consistency to roll out and play with. It's not sticking to me. It's gonna roll out super easily because it's not very cold, and we're ready to go. I'm gonna put just a little bit of flour also on top of the dough. And I like to give my rolling pin a little bit of flour as well. Again, less sticking is better. You just wanna roll this cookie dough out. I like to turn it a quarter turn once in a while, because this again is going to help prevent sticking. Now if you like thicker cookies, go ahead and roll them thicker. Your bake time will just be slightly longer. But I like mine a little bit crisp at the edges, so 1/8 of an inch is perfect for me. And you can see how nicely it's rolling out. It's not fighting back at all, it's not cracking. And I think that's perfect. Great. So you want to make sure you get it as even as possible so that your cookies are as even as possible when you cut them out. Now you have your cutters ready. You can cut these into obviously any shape or size that you like. But what I like to do is dip my cutter into a bit of flour in between almost every cut. It's going to help the dough to not stick to my cutter. Just press down, all the way down. Give it a little jiggle and release so the dough didn't stick to my cutter at all. And the tiny little bit of flour that gets at the edge of the cookie is actually going to help seal the cookie a little bit and help it keep its shape a little bit better in the oven. So that's why I like to do that. So just dipping and cutting. And I'm going to cut so that there's as little scrap in between my cookies as I can get, because we can re-roll and we will re-roll our scraps. But the more times you re-roll your dough, again, the tougher it's going to get because you'll be working the flour more. So I like to place them as close as possible while I'm cutting, so I have as little scrap as possible to re-roll. So now we need to transfer these to our cookie sheet. And this can be a place where cookies get misshapen, so I want to give you some tricks on how to do it. We want to remove, if there's a lot of excess flour, brush it off. That's the first thing. And then remove the scraps around. You can put these back into your bowl because, like I said, we can reuse these. We will re-roll them. So I'm going to use a cookie spatula to get underneath my cookies to transfer them, because that way I know that they're supported the entire time from my countertop to my pan with no jiggling or wobbling. Basically, I haven't changed the shape at all going from here to there. If you try and do this with your hands can wobble and shake, which is fine, but that can lead to a misshapen cookie. So that's why I'm using this big cookie spatula to help me along. And then as I get to the cookies in the center, oh, I tore one. It's no big deal. I'll throw it back in the bowl and I'll re-roll it. And you don't need to use parchment with this recipe. It's not a necessity, but I like using parchment whenever I bake cookies because then I don't have to clean the pans in between bakes. So it's actually a real big time saver. So that's why I'm using it today. So you'll notice I placed my cookies about 1 inch to 1.5 inches apart. You do want to allow for a little bit of spreading just in case your dough is a little bit warmer than it should be so that they won't stick together. So make sure you do that when you put them on your pan. Now we're going to bake these in a preheated 350-degree oven for between 8 and 11 minutes. You just want the edges to get very lightly golden brown. So we're going to pop them in the oven. So now while my first batch bakes, I'm going to re-roll the scraps of my first part of the dough and get my second batch of cookies ready to go into the oven. That way you're kind of cycling through baking and rolling and baking and rolling. And remember, you still have half of your dough in your bowl too. So just keep at it. Cool your baked cookies on a cooling grid like I've done here, and when they're completely cool, they are an awesome canvas for all kinds of decorating. Check them out. They bake completely flat and they keep their shape awesome. They look exactly like the cutter that you use. That's why I love this recipe, especially because it doesn't have to chill down in the refrigerator first. So you can get the recipe for this no chill rollout cookie dough here. And please comment and subscribe to our channel below. Let me know what your questions are about baking and cake decorating. And finally, if you'd like to learn more about cookies in general, especially all of the awesome things you can do to decorate them, check out my new Craftsy class, Get Started Cookie Decorating. I'm Beth Summers. I'll answer another question soon. Take care.